Imagine a planet where the sky itself is alive. Colossal creatures drift through dense clouds, like whales moving through an invisible ocean. Purple forests cover endless islands, but some of those forests do not simply grow, they hunt. Their plants turn toward movement, release toxins and fire, poisonous needles, anything that comes too close. Beneath them, shallow oceans glow with more life than Earth has ever seen. This planet has never been discovered. But based on what we know about stars' atmospheres, geology, and the conditions that may support life, parts of such a folly world may be scientifically plausible. Its name is Hestia, and it raises one uncomfortable question. What if Earth did not the best planet for life? For most of their human history, we have treated Earth as the perfect home. A blue jewel, a rare miracle. A paradise floating in darkness. But look closer, and Earth becomes less and of perfect than we like to believe. A huge portion of this land, its surface is covered by freezing polar regions, scorching deserts, but barren rocky wastelands, high mountains, or deep oceans, where sunlight never reaches. The places where humans can live comfortably make up far less of the planet than we usually imagine. Earth is beautiful, but it is not gentle. It is habitable, but not ideal. And then there is the star above us. The sun gives Earth life, but get hoping it also comes with an expiration date. It is a bis-yellow dwarf star with a total lifespan of roughly 10 billion years, and over time, it slowly grows brighter. That means Earth has already used a significant part of its comfortable future. In a few billion years, the mid-sun will become bright enough to threaten the oceans, intensify the climate, and turn the continents into increasingly hostile ground. It is like buying the most beautiful house in this universe, moving in, and only then discovering one terrifying detail. Every year the house gets hotter. So if the own sun is not the perfect, could the universe contain better candidates? The answer may be yes, and at least on paper. To understand why, we need to look at the stars, most often discussed in the collate search for habitable worlds. The first is the red dwarf. Red dwarfs are extremely common and incredibly long-lived. Some at universe contain better candidates. The answer may be yes, immortal by cosmic standards. At first, that sounds perfect. More time means more chances for life to appear, evolve, and become complex. But red dwarfs come with serious problems. They are small, dim, and cool. For a planet to receive enough warmth for liquid water, it may need to orbit extremely close to the star. And when a planet orbits that close, tidal locking can occur. One side may always face the star, trapped in endless daylight, while the other side remains locked in permanent darkness. Thick atmosphere or global ocean might help move heat around, but without efficient circulation, conditions could become extreme. Imagine a structure where one side faces a powerful thermal source, and the opposite wall opens into a freezer. That is not very exactly paradise. Young red dwarfs can also be violent. They were impulses. May release powerful flares and intense radiation, capable of damaging atmospheres or helping strip them away over time. So red the dwarfs offer time, but they also bring danger. Yellow. Dwarfs like our sun are better in some ways, but they do not remain stable for nearly as long. That leaves a third possibility, the orange dwarf. Orange. Dwarfs sit is between red dwarfs and yellow dwarfs. They are cooler and longer lived than the sun, but often calmer than many. Red dwarfs. Their radiation can be gentler, they're habitable. Zones can be more forgiving, and their lifespans can stretch across tens of billions of years. For life, that is an enormous advantage. Earth needed billions of years to turn simple organisms into complex animals, forests and civilizations. Now imagine a planet with 2 or 3 times more stable time available. That is the kind of star Hestia would orbit, an orange dwarf. Old enough to have settled down, young enough to keep shining for billions of years into the future. A patient star. A star that does not rush life, but Hestia would. Need more than a gentle star. It would need a. When Hestia first formed, it may not have looked like paradise at all. It might have been a hot, violent, barren world. Closer in spirit to early Mars or Venus than to a living planet. Lava plains, toxic skies, constant impacts, no forests, no oceans full, homes of creatures, no purple islands under 4 moons. To May become a living world, Hestia would need 2 critical criton systems. The first is a global magnetic field. Space is not empty. It is filled with charged particles, stellar winds and radiation. A planet without enough protection is like a Voyager facing a relentless storm without a shield. Mars may have suffered part of this fate. The disappearance of this, with its global magnetic field, may have contributed to the gradual loss of much of its atmosphere, while its lower gravity. And geological history also played important roles. Hestia would avoid that path. Deep beneath its surface, a massive metallic core would rotate and churn, generating a powerful but balanced magnetic field. From the surface, no creature would see it, but every creature would depend on it. It would be an invisible shield, wrapped around an entire world. Protection keeps a planet alive, but recycling keeps them fertile. That is where the second system come out in. Plate tectonics. On Earth, moving plates recycled carbon, water, minerals, and nutrients. They help build, and mountains feed volcanoes. renew the crust, and regulate the bar climate over immense stretches of time. Venus shows what can happen when a planet becomes trapped under extreme force. Atmospheric conditions. Its thick carbon dioxide atmosphere can run away. Greenhouse effect make it a furnace at around 470 degrees Celsius. One contributing factor may be the absence of Earth-like active plate tectonics, which means heat. Gases and carbon are not recycled in the same way. It is like a pressure cooker. With a damaged release system. Hestia would be different. Its crust would move. Its interior would breathe. Volcanoes would release gases. Rain would pull carbon from the air. Rocks would store it. Subduction. Zones would drag material back into the young deep. Water, minerals, and nutrients from inside the VAR planet would constantly cycle toward the surface. It would be nature's automatic delivery system for life. At this point, Hestia's planetary hardware would already be extraordinary. But the real miracle would be the software, the ecosystem covering its surface Earth. King has one major weakness. Its continents are enormous. Giant landmasses sound impressive, but for life, they create a problem: the interiors of huge continents. It can become dry, harsh, and isolated. Think it about the Sahara, Central Asia, the Australian interior. Much of the land becomes too far from the ocean for moisture to arrive easily. Hestia could reduce that problem dramatically. It would have no giant supercontinent. Instead, its surface would be out, broken into dozens of medium-sized landmasses, and this millions of scattered islands. Almost every piece of the land would sit relatively close to water, large. Permanent deserts might be rare. The planet would be less like Earth's oversized floor plan and done. More like endless oceanfront property. This one change would transform everything. Coastlines are some of the richest environments on Earth. They mix land, water, nutrients, sunlight, tides, storms, rivers, and constant change. On Hestia, coastlines would not be thin. Deep within these veiled valleys, life thrives in ways unseen. Would be everywhere? Every island would create new habitats. Every bay would create new evolutionary pressure. Every shallow lagoon would become a biological experiment. And because Hestia could be a few degrees, warmer than Earth, much of the planet might frosty. Behave like an enormous tropical zone. Not a desert world. Not an ice world. A rainforest world. On Earth, tropical. Rainforests cover only a breath, small fraction of land, yet they hold a polder. Enormous share of all species. Warmth, water. Colossal air whales longer than a football field could drift through the clouds. Their bodies might contain vast chambers filled with biologically produced, lighter than air gases, allowing them to float. Instead of constantly beating wings, they would move slowly, opening enormous mouths to swallow swarms of tiny flying organisms. From the ground, they would look like living shadows, passing across the purple forests below. Some might spend most of their lives in the air, descending only during birth, reproduction, or death. On Earth, the sky is mostly empty space. But an oxygen-rich world would come with a dangerous price: fire. But an oxygen-rich world would come with a dangerous price: fire. More oxygen can make fire burn faster and more intensely. So why would Hestia not burn constantly? Frequent storms, saturated forests, rivers, wetlands, and shallow seas could break up the land and limit the spread of wildfires. But when fire did appear, it might burn with terrifying intensity. Even paradise would have dangers. And if the sky is that alive, what about the ocean? Earth's oceans contain a brutal truth. Most of the deep sea exists in permanent darkness. Sunlight only penetrates the upper layers. Below a few hundred meters, the ocean becomes cold, dark, and energy-starved. Hestia's oceans would take the opposite path. Their average depth might be only 100 or 200 meters across huge regions. Instead of a world dominated by deep abyssal plains, Hestia would be covered in shallow seas, where sunlight could reach far more of the seafloor. Below a few hundred meters, the ocean becomes cold, dark, and energy-starved. Hestia's oceans would take the opposite path. Their average depth might be only 100 or 200 meters across huge regions. Crab-shaped giants would crawl across bright reefs, where sunlight could reach far more of the seafloor. That single detail would change everything. Huge portions of the ocean would become available to photosynthetic life. Coral-like cities could stretch for thousands of miles. Below a few hundred meters, the ocean becomes cold, dark and energy-starved. Crab-shaped giants would crawl across bright reefs. Transparent, predators would drift between glowing plants. Strange fish would flash through warm currents. Intelligent creatures resembling sea anemones might anchor themselves in colonies, communicating through color, vibration pressure, and chemical signals. The seafloor could look less like the bottom of an ocean and more like a tropical rainforest beneath the water. The key would be Hestia's coastline. On Earth, coastal zones occupy only a small fraction of the ocean, and yet they support a huge share of marine life. Hestia's coastline could be dozens of times longer than Earth's. More islands mean more shores. More shores mean more habitats. Uncivilization on a chain of islands may be lighting its first Stone Age fires. Earth may contain around 9 million complex species. Hestia could contain tens of millions, perhaps under the right conditions, even hundreds of millions. Not because it is magical, but because it gives life more of what life wants. Warmth, water, sunlight, nutrients, protection. Time and room to diversify. They would look up at the night sky and wonder, could a world like this produce intelligent civilizations? The answer is not guaranteed. Evolution does not promise intelligence. It does not aim for tools, language cities, or telescopes. But on a world this stable, this old, and this biologically rich, what would Earth look like to them? Frozen poles, scorching deserts, giant dry continents. Hestia might not produce one intelligent lineage. It might produce several. One civilization on a chain of islands, maybe lighting its first Stone Age fires. Another separated by a shallow ocean, maybe forging metal tools. Somewhere beneath the reefs, an aquatic intelligence may already be shaping living coral into the first cities. Usable, but far from perfect. A living planet, yes, but perhaps not a luxurious one. Under 4 moons, intelligence could rise in more than one place. In more than one form, more than one speed. They would look up at the night sky and wonder, what if Earth's imperfections are exactly what made life more resilient? What if scarcity created complexity? What if struggle produced intelligence? Eventually, they might build telescopes. And one day they might aim those telescopes toward a distant yellow star called the Sun. Around it, they would find a small blue planet, Earth. But a civilization born on Earth looks at the stars with hunger. We ask where we came from, because our world never gave us complete answers. Deep, dark oceans. A star that grows brighter with time. A biosphere that survived disaster after disaster, but only by fighting for every advantage. Would they call Earth beautiful? Maybe. Would they call it ideal? Probably not. But Earth has one strange advantage. It made creatures who are not satisfied with simply surviving. It made creatures who look up, usable but far from perfect. A living planet, yes, but perhaps not a luxurious one. We like to believe Earth is the universe's perfect gift to life. But beside Hestia, Earth might look like a losing lottery ticket that somehow still won. Because in this universe, Hestia may not be impossible. It may only be the first world we have not found yet. But because life here and maybe that is the final twist. What if Earth's imperfections are exactly what made life more resilient? What if scarcity created complexity? What if struggle produced intelligence? What if danger created curiosity, loneliness, ambition, and the desire to look beyond the horizon? Maybe a perfect world creates abundance, but an imperfect world creates questions. A civilization born on Hestia might be prosperous, ancient and comfortable. But a civilization born on Earth looks at the stars with hunger. We ask where we came from, because our world never gave us complete answers. We build rockets, because our planet never felt permanent. We search for life, because we know how fragile life is. So if Hestia exists somewhere out there, it may be more beautiful than Earth, more fertile, more stable, more alive. It may have skies filled with floating giants, oceans bright with endless reefs, forests that think like predators, and civilizations that look at our planet and wonder how anything intelligent could have emerged from such a difficult place. But Earth has one strange advantage. It made creatures who are not satisfied with simply surviving. It made creatures who look up. Maybe the most important planet is not the one that gives life everything it wants. Maybe it is the one that gives life just enough struggle to wonder what else is out there. And if Hestia made you question how special Earth really is, subscribe to Cosmic Theory Lab. Because in this universe, Hestia may not be impossible. It may only be the first world we have not found yet.